In the complex and often murky world of high-profile crime, rumors can spread like wildfire, blurring the lines between allegation and reality. This has been particularly true in the case of businessman Vusi Matlala. For months, whispers and unsubstantiated claims have circulated, with one persistent rumor alleging that Matlala was involved in the kidnapping of an individual named Jerry. This story, passed through gossip and social media, created a narrative of a man involved in a specific personal crime. The name Jerry became attached to Matlala's public persona, suggesting a clear-cut case of abduction with a known victim, a story that was easy for the public to grasp and repeat. However, a thorough examination of official records and credible news reports reveals a critical fact. There is absolutely no evidence to support the claim that Vusi Matlala kidnapped a person named Jerry. No police docket exists for such a case. No official complaint has been filed by anyone named Jerry or their family. The name does not appear in any of the formal charges brought against Matlala by the state. The story of Jerry's kidnapping appears to be a fiction, a piece of misinformation that has taken on a life of its own, distracting from the very real and serious allegations the businessman is actually facing in a court of law. The origin of this rumor seems to be a misunderstanding or a deliberate distortion of events that transpired in late 2024. During a series of high-profile police raids on Matlala's properties, law enforcement officials made vague public statements about their suspicions. Among the list of potential crimes they mentioned was a general allegation of kidnapping. This claim was made without providing any specifics, most notably the name of any alleged victim. It was a broad stroke painted by investigators during a dramatic operation, but it lacked the substance of a formal charge or a documented victim, leaving a void that was soon filled by speculation. This distinction between a vague, unsubstantiated allegation made during a raid and a formal, evidence-backed criminal charge is crucial. In the South African legal system, an accusation is not proof of guilt. The Jerry kidnapping story, while compelling, remains firmly in the realm of rumor. It is a ghost in the machine, a narrative that has overshadowed the concrete legal challenges Matlala is confronting. To understand the true scope of his legal troubles, one must set aside the story of Jerry and focus instead on the official charge sheets and the evidence presented by the National Prosecuting Authority. The foundation of the kidnapping rumor can be traced back to a series of dramatic events in December 2024. On the 13th, 18th, and 19th of that month, the South African Police Service conducted heavily publicized raids on Vusi Matlala's home and business offices. These operations were a significant show of force, designed to signal a serious crackdown on the businessman. During these raids, police briefed the media, floating a number of serious allegations against Matlala. Among them was the explosive but non-specific claim that he was being investigated for kidnapping, a statement that immediately captured public attention and set the rumor mill in motion. Despite the serious nature of the claim, police officials at the scene failed to provide a name for the supposed victim. This lack of detail was a critical omission. Without a named victim, the kidnapping allegation remained an abstract accusation rather than a concrete case. This vagueness allowed speculation to flourish, but it also raised questions about the strength of the police's case at that time. It seemed more like a tactic to apply public pressure than a prelude to an imminent charge. The media ran with the sensational claim, but the central piece of the puzzle, the identity of the person allegedly kidnapped, was conspicuously missing from all official accounts. In response to these raids, Matlala's legal team acted swiftly. On Christmas Eve, 24 December 2024, they filed an urgent application in court. Their argument was that the raids conducted by the police were unlawful and executed with malicious intent. They claimed the police had failed to produce the necessary warrants to justify such invasive searches of Matlala's properties. This legal challenge shifted the focus from Matlala's alleged crimes to the conduct of the police themselves, suggesting that the operation was less about legitimate investigation and more about harassment and intimidation, a claim that added another layer of complexity to the unfolding saga. Ultimately, the December raids and the accompanying kidnapping allegation did not lead to a formal charge for that specific crime. The spectacle faded, And the initial claims made by police on the scene never materialized into a prosecutable case involving an abduction. The entire episode now stands as a prelude to the more substantial legal battles that were to come. It served as a public introduction to the state's interest in Matlala, but the kidnapping narrative itself proved to be a dead end, unsupported by the evidence required to proceed in a court of law. While the story of Jerry's kidnapping is unsubstantiated, the actual criminal charges Vusi Matlala faces are severe and well-documented. The most serious of these relates to a violent incident in October 2023. Matlala was arrested in May 2025 and is currently in custody, charged with the attempted murder of his former lover, media personality Tebogo Thobajane, in Santon. The attack was brutal, and while Thobajane survived, her companion, who was with her at the time, was left paralyzed. This case forms the bedrock of the state's current prosecution against him, involving allegations of a targeted hit carried out by hired assassins. The web of this alleged crime extends beyond Matlala alone. His wife, Tsakani Matlala, is named as a co-accused in the attempted murder case, though she is currently out on 20,000 Rand bail. The state also charged 2 other men, Media Group, mugshots of 2 men, police lineup, courtroom sketches showing 2 defendants at stock at distribute_equally, Tlego Floyd Mabusala, Musa Kekana as the alleged guns for hire in the attack on Thobajane. Complicating matters further, Mabusela and Kekana are also the primary suspects in a separate high-profile murder case, the killing of Vol engineer and whistleblower Armand Swart in April 2024. Prosecutors have indicated their intent to centralize these cases, painting a picture of a connected network of violent crime. Beyond the violent crimes, Matlala is also deeply implicated in allegations of massive corruption and tender fraud involving government contracts. His companies are reported to have received around 50 million Rand from the South African Police Service over several years for various goods and services. This happened despite numerous red flags being raised internally about inflated pricing and irregularities in the procurement process. The fact that a man now accused of attempting to murder someone was simultaneously a major service provider to the police has raised serious questions about the integrity of a government department. The scale of these tender allegations is staggering. As recently as June 2024, one of Matlala's companies was awarded a 360 million Rand police health tender, a contract that has since come under intense scrutiny. His name had also been previously flagged in connection with the Tembisa hospital corruption scandal by the brave whistleblower Babita Deokaran, who was tragically murdered in August 2021. These financial charges suggest a pattern of alleged corruption that spans multiple state institutions, forming a second, equally serious front in the legal battle he now faces, with his next court appearance scheduled for 26 August 2025. The case against Vusi Matlala has expanded beyond the actions of one man and is now casting a long shadow over South Africa's entire criminal justice system. In July 2025, KwaZulu-Natal's highest-ranking police officer, Lieutenant General Nlanhla Mkhwanazi, made explosive public statements that put Matlala at the center of what he described as the systemic capture of the state. Mkhwanazi alleged that powerful business people and drug cartels, with Matlala as a key figure, have managed to corrupt the very institutions designed to uphold the law, including the police, prosecutors, and even members of the judiciary. These are not just vague accusations. Mkhwanazi specifically claimed that Matlala had financially supported Police Minister Senzo Mchunu, an allegation that, if true, points to corruption at the highest levels of government. This public declaration from a top cop suggests a deep-seated rot within law enforcement, where influential figures can allegedly buy protection and influence investigations. It paints a picture of a system where justice is not blind, but is instead for sale to the highest bidder, a crisis that threatens the public's faith in the rule of law and the integrity of those sworn to protect them. The allegations of corruption are further bolstered by the controversial government tenders awarded to Matlala's companies. The fact that he was able to secure contracts worth hundreds of millions of rands from the police, even after being publicly linked to corruption scandals, is seen by many as proof of a compromised system. Whistleblowers and internal auditors had reportedly warned about irregularities, yet the contracts continued to flow. This history suggests that the problem is not just one individual's actions, but a systemic failure of oversight and accountability that allows such situations to occur and persist over many years. In conclusion, the narrative surrounding Vusi Matlala is a tale of two distinct stories. One is the unfounded rumor of the kidnapping of Jerry, a piece of fiction that has clouded public understanding. The other is the stark reality of the official charges he faces: attempted murder, vast tender fraud, and accusations of being a central figure in the corruption of the justice system. While the kidnapping story is baseless, the documented legal battles and the damning allegations from senior police officials reveal a far more complex and troubling situation. Matlala's case is no longer just about him. It has become a test of the integrity of South Africa's democratic institutions.